Tonight we'll be discussing recent events that have been happening, mainly the causes of the Trail of Tears. To do this, we graciously asked individuals about their opinion on these events. Thankfully, all the participants agreed to this interview. However, due to their safety, we will not be showing many of their faces. So to start off our interviews, Daily Bruin managed to find a Creek Indian that was willing to interview, but only if we didn't show their face. My first question is, what is your knowledge about the recent gold rush in Dahlonega?
Well, my family lived near the gold mines, but before we knew it, we were forced to leave by the U.S. Army. Later, I realized that the state of Georgia had held lotteries to gamble our land away to other people without our permission. Fortunately, I was able to avoid the trip to the new Indian territory, but my family wasn't. Unfortunately, because I didn't leave, I got to see the colonists collect pounds of gold that really belonged to us.
Now, my next question is, what are your opinions on William McIntosh?
Oh, that traitor, to be honest, I never liked him. He was good in the beginning, but money and the U.S. government corrupted him. He managed to sell our land away for his own benefit, and even supported that idiot Andrew Jackson when he was in the war with us, and when Jackson wanted to force us into the Indian territory. But I'm glad that he got to sign the 1825 Treaty of Indian Springs, because not going to say anything, but he should always look behind himself from now on because he is in great danger.
How do you feel about Andrew Jackson's last decision with the relocation of Indians?
Yes, I knew we would come to that topic eventually, but fortunately, as I said before, I escaped the soldiers that forced my family to leave. But I saw the other Indians that come from other lands. The results of this journey had left me in famine and disease-ridden. I heard that the trail will eventually kill 4,000 Indians before the Indians reach the Indian territory.
Thank you so much for being our guest, and we bid you a good trip as you go to relocation. Take her.
Wait, what?
After our break, we'll be introducing a new guest.
Ever notice when you're making up some quick, you stir until it's rich and thick? You hate to take that first little sip, 'cause you know it'll be gone in a zip. That's the saddest sound I know.
Let's start off with a few questions. How did you become involved with the Indians and why?
Well, let me start off by saying I was a controversial Creek Indian leader in the 1780s and 1790s. Basically, I orchestrated alliances between the Creek and British forces. I got involved with them because, see, from my mother's side, I'm half Native American, but from my father's side, I'm European.
Did you get involved with the Treaty of Paniagua?
In 1784, I negotiated the Treaty of Pensacola in Spain, which protected Creek rights in Florida and guaranteed access in the United States to respect Creek boundaries.
Did it work?
Yes, I was able to use my influence to my advantage to shape the Creek domestic policy.
Did you have to face any challenges at the time?
Of course, that darn political decentralization of Creek society threatened my ability to protect Creek sovereignty. After that, I had to create mechanisms of centralized power in the Creek Nation.
Is there anything else you'd like us to know?
Well, on February 13th, 1793, I died in Pensacola, Florida.
Thank you for that useful piece of information. And our next guest will be John Ross. So, John Ross, before I ask any questions, can you tell me a bit about yourself?
I was born on October 3rd, 1790 in Turkeytown, on the Coosa River near present-day Center, Alabama. I lived on in life, learned the customs of my traditional Cherokees at my father's store, and I also have a mixed blood family that practiced in European traditions and spoke English.
So can you tell us about your education?
I attended Southwest Point Academy in Tennessee, and then later on I married my wife, Claudie.
Can you tell us of an example when you believed you showed true leadership?
Diplomatic skills enabled me to achieve prominent positions, like in my election as principal chief of what was once the Cherokee Nation, which me and my neighbor established.
So how long did you fight in that battle?
I fought against the Georgia Lottery in 1832, which was designed to give away Cherokee lands, and it was actually my first political fight.
How long did you fight in that battle?
I fought the removal act until 1838 when I saw that there was no alternative. Even though the Treaty of New Echota was authorized by one vote in the U.S. Senate in 1836, I still continued that Americans would not out the most civilized people in America.
So what did you do once you were in the Indian Territory?
I tried to establish farms, businesses, schools, and even colleges. Soon enough, the Cherokee Nation was torn apart. Politically, after the fight over the removal treaty, I clung to the reins of power.
Well, a big thank you to you. But for now, that's all the time we have. Okay. So when did you become president?
In 1829, I became president and served 8 years until 1837.
So what did you do before you became president?
Oh, I worked as a Tennessee Supreme Court judge.
So I heard you were in the Army. Is that true?
I became well known when I defeated the Cherokees during the Battle of Horseshoe Bend, where I was an Army general at the time.
So what are the main things you're striving to do as a president?
I signed the Indian Removal Act even though the Supreme Court disagreed. But it's alright though, they all left the country.
Welcome back to Daily Bruins. Our next guest will be the creator of the Creek syllabus, Sequoia. If I may ask, Sequoia, how did you come up with the syllabary?
On how they were able to communicate with long distance by letters and stuff like that. So I decided, why not make my own, right? Okay, so I did. And even if it took me 8 years, it was worth it. It made creeks, write and learn. It was worth it. It is, as many Cherokee tribes have used it, and it also helped us make the newspaper, which is called the Cherokee Phoenix. There. Yeah.
Our next guest is the Chief Justice for Worcester.
I think it violated the 14th Amendment, which states that it does not allow any government in the United States from blocking a citizen's right to pursue life, liberty, and happiness. This is why I ruled in their favor.
Well, thank you for joining us, but that's all we have for Daily Bruins. Remember, folks, stay golden.